the heart of many, the heart of most, is encased, for some in stone, walled in, protected, guarded, defended. Many, many years ago, with a previous partner, 30 years ago I think it was, when I used to go out with her and we used to get a kind of drunk and stuff, there would be a moment where she said, there's a time in this getting drunk together when you're really nice, because the guards protecting your heart have kind of disappeared for a while temporarily. And that used to make me kind of laugh and cry at the same time. Laugh and be happy because there was a moment of freedom recognized in a sense, but then certainly subsequently sad, because it pointed out that my heart was very walled in and protected because of events and because of experiences and retractions and stuff that had happened in the past. And now in the work that I do, in the work that we do with my sessions and the events of supporting people in the deepening of spiritual awakening, realization, transformation, I look around and see really we build these societies, or we take part, or we collude, or we're victims of, or these societies, and so many people walk around the whole of their lives with the heart, with the tender heart, with the open heart, walled in, encased, protected, defended. The guards are there. And they see what happens with the tenderness of the heart, that retracts or builds up these walls over time in childhood and adolescence, and then adulthood. It gets cemented in adulthood through our beliefs and our habits and our addictions and our practices, and this walling in. We forget all about the heart in so many ways, and what happens is that the mind, the righteous mind, the mind that has its beliefs, the mind that has its opinions, the mind that's navigating its way through the world, tends to jump in and compensate for the defended heart, and so we almost automatically start living more from mind than we do from heart, because the heart is almost as if offline in some ways. It's not really offline, but it's defended. It's like protected, like this. So we live from very much mind, and this seems to work, but we all end up in a mind world. We live in a mind world, where everything is mind and nothing is really, true heart. And the heart kind of waits patiently in each of us for the time when it might be, revealed or become undefended. Excuse me. And that might happen in grief, it might happen in sorrow, it might happen in love. In love it happens at first, at least in the first couple of years of a true, falling in love. And falling in love in the first couple of years, let's say, in what's called the honeymoon period. Not a period I particularly, not a phrase I particularly like, but that initial period where all the hormones and all the neurons and everything is kind of rising up in beauty, and we're falling in love, is that the heart suddenly becomes undefended, because suddenly love is more powerful than the defense. And this is beautiful, because it sort of changes something, and we experience a different aspect of life. And that's a great way of experiencing what the undefended heart is like. You know, the unfortunate thing about that is that because mostly it's not conscious, mostly it's not brought to consciousness, then the old habits, the old wounds, the old cycles, the old patterns, the old grievances, you know, they all start rising up. And by, you know, the heart, kind of the innocence, the openness of the heart starts to sort of fade a little bit into the background as these, you know, grievances and patterns and ruts and wounds start to rise up again. And pretty quickly, or by, the love fades, and the heart goes, you know, withdraws back, because they're not bringing enough awareness to it, or spiritual transformation, or we haven't dealt with the issues of the past enough that the heart manages to stay open. And we live in a very contractual world. We live in a very conditioned world. We live in a world that, you know, reinforces our need to protect ourselves at all costs, because everybody else is doing the same thing. So people don't tend to live openly. People don't live from an unconditional place within themselves. Of course, why would you? When everything is conditional, when everybody else is conditional, when you look out into the world and all you see is a load of actors, you know, kind of acting their way through the play of life, and none of it is really true, because what's true is hidden behind. What's true is underneath. What's true is the heart that is being defended by the righteous mind and the ego mind and the self-preservational mind. And that's what runs the world. But unfortunately, that creates this schism in the world, doesn't it? The superficial world, where everybody's, you know, jostling for position, or trying to, you know, get things right and do things, or, you know, survive and stuff, you know, but really the dark forces underneath of each individuation, the unresolved issues below the surface, the shadow, the wounds, the anger, the grievances, the hurts, the pain, is all sort of, you know, under the iceberg. It's all the dark stuff. Well, you think that doesn't have an effect. I mean, that's naive to think that it doesn't have an effect. And if that's playing itself out in one person, then it's playing itself out in everyone. Consider that. Wow. Wow. It's unconscious forces in many ways. It's the unconscious, the unseen, the shadow, you know, the neglected, the hurt, the wounded, the angry, the furious, that really drives this world in so many ways. And so it is within each of us. Hence what I'm talking about, and hence in so many ways what the spiritual path is really about. And what it's really about is seeing if it's possible to live from a more open place by dissolving, removing, looking at what it is that's guarding the heart. It's not just about beliefs. Beliefs easily stem from the wounded heart. So after we've looked at the mind and the mind's awareness and stuff, and all of that is great, to be rooted in awareness is fundamental. But by and by, to look at what is it that's protecting my heart. Why is it that I feel that I need to protect my heart so much that I create a mind life out of it? might be emotional mind, it might be emotional pain that's driving my mind. But this heart of mine, what is it that I'm defending? What is it that I'm protecting? What is the hurt inside me that I feel that I can't live with? It's difficult, painful. Painful. It can be. But I haven't met anybody who can't face their pain. I meet people who are in so much pain anyway because they're avoiding their pain. You try and avoid your pain so much, but it just creates more pain. The pain of healing, the pain of facing, brings a relief to our suffering. But the pain of keeping on, pushing it away and fighting with it and resisting it, actually just accumulates the suffering. So on one hand, we're accumulating because we can't face ourselves and our pain, but we tend towards that because we have an idea, or we can't face the pain of healing, of facing it. So I was working with somebody who said they can't face something about what they thought was gonna be painful. Doing this, and this was going to be painful. And I said, how do you know? Well, I think it's like that's what I feel. It's going to be painful. I'm like, well, but how do you know what it's going to be? Because it hasn't happened yet. You can't. Imagination is not a useful tool in that respect. It's not a useful way of getting through, because you don't know how you're going to meet something until you meet something. And if imagination is saying, well, we better not do that, and I'm not going to do that, because it's going to cause me too much pain, then you're just going to stay in the cycle of imagination, as though that's going to protect you. But we actually don't protect ourselves because we're subject to the forces that are under the surface anyway. There's no way out. There's no way out of this. The only way is through. The only way is to get every ounce of strength that we have, every ounce of courage that we have, every ounce of surrender, every ounce of willingness, every ounce of life force, every ounce of everything that we've got, and to say, yes, I'm going to meet whatever it is. I'm going to meet myself however I am. I'm going to love myself however I am. Because we have got the capacity to love ourselves back to being, back to truth, back to innocence, back to freedom, back to peace. We have to stop believing some of the false ideas that we carry about ourselves, to imagine that we're weaker than we actually are. It serves no one to be weak. It serves no one to play the victim. And I know this because I played it for 60 odd years of my life. It doesn't help. Yeah, and if you're called to the journey of deepening, then you have to activate the courage to deepen and be willing to go down and down and down and to see what it is that's blocking this area. Something is sitting there usually. Sometimes it's somebody, yeah, sitting on your chest. A parent, a father, and a mother. For some, a narcissistic mother. For some, a dominating or neglecting or abusive or something father. Brothers, sisters, religious teachers, an idea, life force, the whole pattern of ancestry, sitting on one's life force. Yeah? And it's time for each of us, because the time is right, the time is now. This is it. Veils are coming off. Such a time of transformation is around for us. we be willing to take it? And the taking of it is the fire, is this fire that calls us. But we have to be willing for it to filter down into the heart area. Say, damn it, I'm going to be open. I'm going to live openly. It's not naive. It's not weak. It's not even vulnerable. It's invulnerable. Our vulnerability doesn't manifest like, our vulnerability is when we're trying to navigate our way through the world, by sort of strategizing, by trying to defend so much that which actually doesn't need defending. We think it's vulnerability, but it's a doorway to our invulnerability, because our invulnerability is the essence of who we are. It's pure consciousness, pure awareness, pure love. That's who we really are. Pure awareness, pure consciousness, pure love. And when we stop thinking of ourselves as these broken little waves on the ocean, at the behest and at the mercy of life as it appears, then we stop being the victim. When we remember ourselves, the truth of ourselves as pure awareness, pure love. So we come back into the essence of ourselves. That's the remembering. That's the remembering that I'm talking about. Some deep, visceral remembering of our true nature. Very powerful. Takes a little bit of time. Can do. Visions of it. The willingness, just the great willingness